Welcome to Singapore. This is the part where I tell you that the Merlion is not some ancient mythical creature that holds a special place in the lore of Singapore and its people. Nope. Instead, it was made specifically to be a symbol for tourism in the 1960s. That's just one of the few fun facts I would have given you right now. However, for reasons I still am trying to figure out right now, none of the audio that was captured over the entirety of the 4 days I was in Singapore actually captured. So instead, what I plan to do was 3 different videos based on different themes, an intro, a walk through the ethnic enclaves, and a special treat toward the end I was going to do because I can't do it in my typical look at me vlogger style and have to narrate through, and I'm pretty sure you don't want just 3 straight videos of my voice. I'm just going to condense all of my Singapore adventures in just one episode. So congratulations, you get 3 shows in one. Aren't you lucky? So we're going to do this in kind of a diary format. So right now I'm in Merlion Park, but before that I was in Lau Pa Sat, which is one of the hawker centers, one of the few hawker centers that are around the city where you have a vendor serving like street style food in Singapore. Lau Pa Sat is one of the more famous ones because it's kind of right downtown, where if you're staying for a couple days, that's where you are. And many people who work in hotels would just kind of tell you by default, oh, you want something to eat, just go to Lau Pa Sat. Personally, for me, I recommend the Maxwell Food Center, which is from where I was staying about equidistant from Lau Pa Sat. It's over in Chinatown. Very good stuff. So that's just my recommendation. All right, so from Merlion Park, we walk all the way across over by the theaters on the bay, and then we cross the Helix Bridge, which opened in 2010. If you start from Merlion Park, it's about a 20-minute walk across, like all the way from the beginning of Merlion over across the Helix Bridge until you finally get to the shopping center across from the Marina Bay Sands. Gotta admit, seeing this up close, it's actually pretty impressive. So here we are on the 57th floor on the observation deck. Not really a big fan of observation decks, but I'm doing this for y'all, so here you go. Anytime before 4 o'clock, it's general admission, but after 4, you need a reservation because a lot of people like to come through sunset. So a hack-ish you can do for sunset is, if you don't want to just go pay the ticket, there is a bar similar to if you saw my video in Bangkok. However, the bar does have a limit to the view, so if you just really want to look over the front view, then you'll need to come up to the observation deck. There is a side that's completely blocked off for hotel guests. Like once you get up to the observation deck, there's no way you can get across. So if you're actually staying in this hotel, you have access to the infinity pool and a few other places on the other side. And once I was done here, I went across to the gardens by the bay, which honestly was a little bit more expensive than I thought it was going to be. So you can choose to do the whole thing if you want, if you have all day, or you can do a few of the attractions. I did the Cloud Forest as well as the Treetop Skyway, which was a total of 34 Singapore dollars. Personally, I really enjoyed the Skyway because you're walking on that bridge, you get a nice view of some of the large trees that are very visible over there, as well as, again, another view of the Marina Bay Sands. Oh, also met these nice folks over from Japan. Then over to the Cloud Forest, where the biggest thing here besides this gorgeous waterfall is the fact that it's all indoors. So the first thing I noticed was how the aircon just hits you, and very refreshing when it does. But just imagine a great garden, but it's inside, climate controlled, and all of it is just absolutely beautiful. Then I got a message from a buddy Chris, who I met in Jakarta just a couple of weeks ago, saying, hey, we're hanging out at White Shades, come join us. So of course I did. Singapore as a city has rich cultural diversity. So with that, I decided to visit the 3 biggest ethnic enclaves in the city. Chinatown is one of Singapore's oldest districts. and really reflects how rich the cultural heritage of the Chinese community is in Singapore. All across Chinatown, you'll see these little statues, as well as paintings across different walls from the streets. In Chinatown, you'll also find the temple's Tian Ha King, as well as the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, which relatively is a newer temple. However, this temple is believed to hold the tooth relic of Buddha. And of course, you have a traditional Chinese market. On the bottom floor is a wet market selling fresh meat, fresh fish, and produce. On the middle level contains clothes and other souvenirs and gifts, potentially for you and your family. And on the top floor is, of course, a food court. And while it felt good to walk through the market without being hassled by the vendors, I have to admit there was a part of me that missed that little bit of authentic experience. Next, we take the train over to Little India. And our first stop is, of course, a market, the Tekka Center. This is actually one of the most popular markets in Little India that is known for a wide variety of Indian food, fresh meat, produce, and traditional Indian clothing. And across the street is the Little India Arcade, which you'll find more of the same, including some baked goods. Once again, you also find street art as well. And here we have the Sri Veeramakaliamman Temple. Dedicated to the Hindu goddess Kali, it is one of the oldest temples in Singapore. In nearby Little India, a not too far walk away, is the neighborhood of Kampong Glam, which is known as Singapore's Muslim Quarter. Two major attractions here are Haji Lane, seen here in its vibrant colors, as well as the Sultan Mosque, which is a focal point for the Muslim community located in Singapore. For me, it was interesting seeing these three different neighborhoods and how they both kind of contrast, but also kind of fit together within the larger scheme of the city. Nothing too exciting happened on day 3. I just went to the botanical gardens and just walked down Orchard Road, where a lot of the malls and like really high-end shopping is. Although I did find this nice little food court that's tucked away in the street. It's not quite hidden, but you can easily walk past it. It's right next to a 7-Eleven across from a mall. Go figure. So day 4, I decided to take it really easy, and all I wanted to do was just get some food. So I went over to Newton Food Center, which for me was put on the map by the movie Crazy Rich Asians. I'm a big fan of the movie, actually. And so there's a scene where Nick takes his fiancée Rachel home to Singapore, and this is where they first eat when they get off the plane. Now, clearly this is more of a nighttime market, not a daytime market, because as you can see, it's kind of dead. I just went around here during lunchtime. But another reason is there's a few Michelin Guide restaurants tucked away in this food center. And I also have not had like Hainanese chicken and rice yet, which apparently is a signature meal here in Singapore. Like when I tell you, a bartender the night before was completely shocked that I have not had the chicken and rice dish yet, and suggested I rectify that immediately. So here I am. So I found this place, which is Michelin Guide, but also sells chicken and rice. So I ordered and I tried it. I have to admit, it was pretty good. Now, I gotta say, I had really high expectations. It didn't really meet my high expectations because I was expecting something that would completely blow my mind and just completely change my world. But no, it was pretty good. Now, that broth that it came with, to me, that really saved the meal. It went from an okay meal to pretty good because of the broth. Just really brought out some of the flavors of the chicken and rice. And by the way, it's not just plain white rice. The rice is indeed seasoned. Just an FYI. But once I was done here, I figured it was time for dessert. But of course, I'm just not going anywhere for dessert. I found an ice cream museum. So I walk in and I have to choose a name to kind of go through the experience, with the name being based in ice cream. So I saw Justin Timbershake and I decided, you know what, I'm going to call myself JC Sorbet. Now, if you got that reference, congratulations, it's time to take your ibuprofen. So the way this experience works is there's 5 stations and each station serves different styles and flavors of ice cream, and which is all you can eat at that station. However, once you leave one station, that is it. You cannot go back. So in between each stations are these little different areas, which have either kind of different game rooms, as you can see as I'm trying to throw the bags into the holes, or try to the Scamby claw game. And there's also areas dedicated more for kids. There's a playland, and at the very end, right before you leave, there is a kind of a ball pit, but the balls are shaped as ice cream sprinkles, which I thought was a really, really interesting touch. Of course, I didn't go in, but clearly for the kiddos, and they seemed to enjoy it. So that was my adventure in Singapore. Again, I apologize for the audio issues and I had to condense the content, but hey, you do what you can. Make lemons out of lemonade, right? Or the other way around, whatever. Anyway, so I think I got them straightened out, but we'll see. Until next time, I'll catch you later.